Okay, good morning, everybody. Thanks again for joining me this morning. My name is Phil Stephanie, and we are back and live here on Africam Morning Show. Let's see what comes our way. We're going to move between all the cameras and see what happens, see what we see, what we hear. Looks like it's a wonderful sunny day in most of the areas where the cameras are. Let's give the camera some time to move around the waterhole and just see what else is going on. I've really enjoyed watching the ostrich family that arrived 2 or 3 weeks ago with lots of youngsters. I wouldn't say chicks. They've grown up, maybe 4 or 5 months old. And it's always nice to see if they're coming around. There were lots of them. I think there was about 12 of them, which is a great survival rate. It's always nice to recap and see how many of the youngsters actually make it to adulthood. Okay, now we have the camera moving. Wow, lots of waterbuck. And there's the head of an impala just peeking out at the back there. Also well covered in the ground cover there. 2 young waterbuck having a little sparring match. See the zebra is quite happy with their environment today, just wagging their tails. Remember, one of the signs to look out for is if one zebra stops wagging its tail and they all follow suit. It's always a good idea to look in the direction that the zebras are looking. There's often likely something to be there, but for the time being, it's a very relaxed scene here at Tau. Spurwing goose taking off there. Oh, 2 impalas also having a bit of a sparring match there. It's quite nice to see a crocodile the other day here at Tau. You see the water's gone down just a bit. I think that could be a croc there on the left in the water. When the pan is at its fullest, it was quite tricky to see the crocodiles. It's always a scary concept. We know they're there, but you can't always see them. I just want to keep panning across, start to get a better idea of what's happening around the waterhole today. There's a big waterbuck bull also taking a rest. It's always quite interesting to me to see how when one group, there's some ostrich, no babies. When one group of animals is doing a certain thing, whether it be feeding or resting, or they all follow each other and with no real audio communication, they just seem to be on the same page. So here we have the male and female ostrich. The male's on the left, the completely black color, and the brown gray female on the right. I'm not sure if they're the ones that had the chicks. I hope not, unless they've stashed them off somewhere. A very interesting bird, ostrich, picking at the greenery, but they'll also mix their diet up with insects. They'll eat flowers. Very similar diet to a chicken or a guinea fowl. One thing that is quite interesting about ostrich, on 3 occasions I've seen how cheetah have caught ostrich. They're not often on the prey species list, but on these 3 occasions, looking at the old carcass and the old kill site, each one had one or two very round pebbles, looked like marbles. And ostriches are quite well known to pick up the odd stone, often quartz, a really hard stone, and swallow them, and that helps them digest their food, breaking their food up in their stomach. And as those stones roll around and move in the stomach of the ostrich, they become round, perfectly round, as though a river pebble becomes after rolling down the river for months on end. So every now and then you do see them picking up a stone. That's not so much for feeding purposes, that has a function of digestion. Body to eye ratio, the ostrich also has the biggest eye. Unfortunately for it, it doesn't leave much space for a brain. Not necessarily the smartest of creatures, but man, they've got great eyesight, and they manage to outrun pretty much any predator. Funny enough, the 3 kills I have seen have all been cheetah. We're the only one to try and catch them. And whatever you do, don't try and take an ostrich egg while while the male or female are around. They will chase you down, and quite relentless at anything that tries to attack their babies or their nest. They're quite interesting to see if there are any chicks around. Maybe if the camera pans out a little, moves across to the left some more. I wonder if this is that couple that has, or that had lots of babies. Just want to give the camera a little bit of time to move across and see if we can get another view, or a wider view of what's going on around the waterhole. Okay, while we wait for that camera to start to move, I want to go across to Tembi, just for a different scene, different cam. It's always a lovely scene. Yeah, Tembi, there's a big waterbuck bull on the far side of the waterhole, and an Inyala having a drink. The waterhole looks quite full and very green, so I suspect there's been a fair amount of rain that's fallen. Nice green grass. I reckon it's pretty warm out there today. The camera's moved now from Tau across to the left, and there's a lone springbok and a wildebeest in the background doing what most of the waterbuck were doing, is lying down, chewing the cud. And the zebras are doing what the other zebras were doing, and that's just taking it easy and not spending any energy. It's another good example of how all these animals that we see in this sort of one area are actually doing more or less the same thing. Very much on the same page, products of their environment, I guess. not sure if those are some white-necked ravens just behind the pied crow. I think they're pied crows. There's two of them on the other side of that mound of sand. No sign of the ostrich babies. Maybe it's another pair, who knows. It's definitely worth keeping an eye out for, though. Okay, while the camera's there, I just want to go to another camera. Just have a little look around here at Nkora. It's quite interesting to see how the grass has grown. It's also sort of knee height by now. I don't know if anyone remembers watching the cameras 6 months ago in the winter months, where there was absolutely no grass around here at all. Brown and trees are leafless. And it won't be too much longer before that starts to be the case again. We're still very much in the middle of summer, so we'll have January, February, maybe March. Looks like it's a good rainy season, so it could go into March. But by the time April, May comes along, the rains would have slowed down, if not stopped. And slowly moving into the middle of the year, our winter in the southern hemisphere, things will start to become another or a different picture. I'm not sure what is that, a bird under that tree on the right hand side there. Let's see if we can, once the camera's done scanning the whole area, maybe we zoom into that object. I'm not sure, there could be something there in the distance as well, maybe a warthog. But as I'm sure many of you are aware now, you know, when the rains start coming and there's lots of water around, lots of food around, it certainly does disperse the wildlife. At the moment there's no impalas, no wildebeest. Also, I'm sure the heat will have something to do with it. This time of year is really hot out there. But as we also know, things can change pretty quickly. Gonna go across to Tembe quickly. As I say, things can change quite quickly, and the picture. Oh, okay. We seem to have a technical problem with Tembe for the time being. There was an elephant there. Maybe there'll still be one, or maybe there'll be more. Oh no, here we are. There he is, just in time. Camera is a little bit slowed up today. Also seems to be a problem with the sound. But a beautiful sight. Wow, look at him. He's got huge tusks. Classic Tembe, big tusker. Long, not so thick. But certainly some of the longer tusks you'll see. Let's give it a bit of time. I think he's already been at the water, so maybe he'll come back. The game viewing at Tembe has been really good over the last week. Good giraffe and lion interaction. I don't know if anyone saw that. That bull looks like he's on his way out. Let's see if the camera pans off to the left a little. I'd like to get an idea of what's going on the left-hand side of the waterhole. Still a woolly-necked stork, and that waterbuck has decided to head off for a bit of a feed. 3 more woolly-necked storks. There's nobody else for the time being. So there's a photograph from Tembe I'd like to share with you. And this is an interesting photograph. Yeah, I guess what good photographs do is tell interesting stories. And here it looks like a lot of these impalas have no idea. They've taken a while to see that young male lion creeping up on them. There's 2 other lions in the background. Looks like only 2 or 3 of the impalas have worked out that there's a potential problem. I'm not sure what the end result was here, but I suspect it was a bit of mayhem on the impala's front. These lions have been spending a bit of time around the waterhole, causing a fair amount of havoc, and I'm sure also being relatively successful with regards to hunting these impala and inyala. But they've also been getting more and more, I don't know, cheeky or brazen with regards to chasing giraffe. There was a herd of about 15 giraffe, and I think it might have been this young male lion that ran straight into the herd with full confidence. I'm not so sure what he would have done if he caught up to one. But I do think at this point, it's not impossible that at some stage they're going to catch one. But I just thought this was an interesting photograph. Talking about catching things. Here's another photograph taken at Cat Eye of these starlings, and the one in particular, just about a catch that looks like a wasp. If it's a fly, it's a rather big one, but what a wonderful snapshot. Taken here, perfect timing. Yeah, typically starlings, they'll feed on fruit, and they'll pick insects off the ground. You don't often see them hawking things out the sky. I suspect the video of this might have been quite clumsy, but the photograph was taken in the perfect moment. Just love this shot. There's another photograph I'd like to share with you with a bird that we don't often see that often. It's a Melba Finch, or also some of you might know it as a petilia. Just a beautiful little seed-eating bird, generally speaking quite shy. You don't often see them, they skulk in the thickets. But here, well caught. Chanel here at Cat Eye, great shot of a Melba Finch. Okay, let's see if we can get back to Tembe. There we go. I do like the concept of having a good look around in one moment, seeing nothing, and then suddenly there's 2 elephant bulls. Almost as though we placed them there. But like I say, you've always got to keep watching. Things can change, or things do change on a continual basis. So these are 2 younger bulls. They don't have the biggest of tusks. They're certainly not small, but they're not anywhere near as the size of the one that was there earlier. And they're back to the old trick of looking for the fresh water outlet. Can't quite see whether they're getting water there. It does look a little dry to me. No, there we go. He's getting a trunk full. Again, no rush in their lives. They've got water, they've got plenty of delicious new food. The one having a drink is so relaxed, he's crossing his legs at the back there. So I'd say both of these elephants are maybe in their late 20s, possibly pushing into their 30s. But they've still got a fair amount of growing to do, both in body size and tusk size. It is a bit tricky here at Tembe to work it out. Sometimes the young bulls have got really big tusks already that will all depend on their genetic makeup. Oh, there's number 3. Let's see if any more come in. Also about the same age, similar size. A little bit boisterous. He's come a long way, he's thirsty. Oh, he's even getting a bit of mud out of there. A beautiful picture. Anyone watching, good snapshot opportunity. As though they're brothers. Let's see if the camera can pan out a little bit. I'm just going to see where that third one went. Just give it a bit of time for the smoke signal to get to Zumi. There we go. Bush telegraph. Ah, there's number 3. Oh, and 4. Yeah. Always good to just keep a good lookout around the whole area. I'm not sure which one was the first one we saw, but one having a little feed on the right, and another one enjoying the water's edge for a drink. He looks like he's got some thicker tusks. Also completely covered in mud and water. keeping himself nice and cool. Really sharp tusks, this fellow. Okay, and as usual, I'd like to finish off with a couple of not finish off, but go across to a picture as we've been watching this particular view at Tembe. Here's a lovely shot of red elephants at Tau taken over the last couple of weeks. Just thought beautiful, beautiful contrast. This wonderful family coming down to the waterhole, their white tusks, red bodies, and the green background. Okay, folks, for those that are on African Premium, we're going to stick around for the next half an hour. To everybody else, thanks so much for joining me today. I'll catch up with you tomorrow on the afternoon show. Talking about things changing as the time goes by. So we're back at Nkora, where there wasn't much sign of anything, and now we have a wonderful herd of impala. It's perfect condition. Big male on the right there, he's got himself big herd of females. Can't see too many babies. There should be some, either some already being born or maybe they're still coming, but let's keep a lookout here if there are any little ones. Let's see if this fellow can also hold on to this big herd. By the time May comes along, he'll have, I think, quite a big challenge. Okay, while these impalas are enjoying a bit of a feed, let's go back to Taupan. The zebras have decided to move just a little bit and come down for a drink. That waterbuck male has also got up, having a bit of a feed. Does look a little overcast. I don't think it's cold. Maybe even a bit humid, actually. Little zebra foal in the middle there. Lots of zebra movement there. Let's see if the camera pans back a little bit, gives us a bit more of a wide angle. Just want to see if the other zebras on the other side are also moving. Just carrying on a little bit from that concept of animals doing similar things in one area. So there's a waterbuck that's come down for a drink as well on the far right. Well, the zebra's doing a whole lot more moving. Stallion chasing younger males around maybe. That big waterbuck bull looks like he might be coming down for a drink. Pretty simple life, really. As long as lions or leopards don't come and spice things up a little. Concept of feeding and drinking. Pretty much it. And of course the males will need to fight. While the rest of the herd is running around, this mother looks like she's taking the opportunity to take her youngster for a peaceful drink. I think there's 2 foals in this group. Just want to see if we can get the camera to pan to the left-hand side of the waterhole. Yeah, keep panning and go all the way across. There's ostrich still in the same place, no sign of any chicks. Looks like the springbuck. I think there's 2 or 3 there now. Oh, those zebras are also up and also moving around, not quite as much as the ones on the right-hand side. Oh, there's one or two down by the water there. There's a bit of movement at the back there with those zebras. Certainly more active than they were. Let's just see if these zebras come down for a drink as well. Certainly lots of zebras out today. 3 or 4 wildebeest. At least 16, maybe 17 zebras. That's a decent sized herd, or a dazzle. Grey heron in the foreground there on the left-hand side, bottom left corner. Always a wonderful sight to see how when zebras clump together, you can see how that black and white striping does confuse the eyes with regards to how many there are, or if there are any babies or any weak ones. They all kind of blend into one, which is the concept. Remember, when it comes to camouflage, most predators only see in shades of light and dark. So if you imagine this image being black and white, that color combo would work a whole lot more. They stick out for us. But actually it's a great tactic of camouflage. It's also a good explanation. The name, the dazzle of zebras, is rather dazzling. Yeah, also coming down for a drink. It's quite interesting to see how they're all doing more or less the same thing at the same time. I'm going to go across to Kwapan, where there's some Egyptian geese having a lovely morning bath. Or at least the one on the right was. There we go. Always entertaining. That was a quick bath. So let's have a look at some of the videos that I've been looking at, some highlight videos. There's a wonderful video here of some lions at Tembe not too long ago. Very playful youngster running in, pretending to play and grabbing the best spot for a drink. Just really enjoyed this video. All four of them in a line. Just a beautiful shot. So as I was saying, this pride of lions seems to be dominating the waterhole. You can see here their bellies are full. Having a really good drink. We don't often see, although relatively speaking we do, but we don't often see their actual kills. I'm sure they chase things into the thicket and therefore you can't get to see what they kill, but I know in this area they do enjoy, or should I say nyala are quite plentiful, and so they tend to be quite successful with regards to catching a nyala. I'm sure impalas, warthogs are also very much on the menu. And as we've chatted about, they're also really trying their luck with the giraffe, especially these younger, the two in the foreground. Actually, the three of them in the foreground, they are sub-adults, so maybe they just come into adulthood, maybe 2 years of age or so, maybe a little bit more. They've got a decent mane growing there, but those three are quite cheeky, quite confident as well to try and catch giraffe. I've got another clip that illustrates that. And that's what happens as time goes by. Predators are really good at looking for opportunities, taking good opportunities and turning them into successful ways of surviving. Whatever this pride's doing, they're doing really well. They're looking in great condition. Even the big female on the right with a collar. It's a time of plenty, summer. So let's have a look at that other clip. I was talking about how they're trying their luck with giraffe. Let's have another look at that from the start. It's quite quick. It's hiding behind the termite mound, comes out of the termite mound and gives it a full go. And the next one. As you can see, it's rather playful on the lion's side, although it's getting more and more confident. I would say that if the lions want to have success, they're going to need to hunt together. It's like I said earlier, I'm not sure what this young male lion would do if it happens to actually catch up with a giraffe. It's quite a dangerous animal to try and hunt. A big kick backwards or a chop forwards could spell the end of that lion's life. But yeah, we'll have to keep watching because we've seen it a couple of times, how they try for giraffe, and maybe one day it will work. There's one more video of this pride at Tembe. Just have a listen to the alarm calls of the animals around it and the chaos that it's caused. So those are all alarm calls of impalas. The lioness doesn't seem to mind too much. Her stomach's already full. She's already had her successful hunt. The impalas are rather alarmed, and remember with alarm calls, it's the impala's warning the predator that it's already been seen, that it shouldn't waste its time and try and hunt as it's already been seen. But in this case, this lioness doesn't bother her. Okay, there's another clip I'd like to share with you, just talking about the ostriches, the tau, before we go back to the live cameras. Here's a wonderful shot of all of these ostrich chicks. I think there's 2 age groups here. Look a bit like emus when they're this age. You see there's some youngsters, younger ones, but a whole lot of them. Ostrich females can lay up to 38 eggs, I think is one of the highest numbers recorded. And I tell you what, this is right up there. It's even more impressive that so many are still alive and clearly doing really well. It's quite an unusual sight with so many little ostrich. Now, I'm not sure how they're doing at the moment. Like I say, I'm not sure whether those 2 we saw earlier at Tau are actually the mother and father. I hope that they're still around. I'm sure they are. They must be hiding somewhere. But let's have a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 22 at least. It's always tricky to count animals, but plus or minus 22, it's a really successful result. Okay, let's go back to Tembe if we can. Things have warmed up there quite a lot. Just look at that. Zebras have joined the party. Big elephant bull in the middle there. I would say he's somewhere in his maybe early 40s. It's quite tricky to tell. His body looks like it's in great condition. There's certainly some very large tusks. So these ones in the foreground, I'd say early 30s, if that. And you can see there's a very clear size difference just on the head, body as a whole. It's always nice to have different age groups or different sizes. It's always a little tricky to tell exact ages. But I'd say there's at least 10 years between these 2, if not more. Very busy, always making a drink, throwing sand on your back, throwing mud on your back, having a little sparring match. Lots to do in a day. Wow, just look at those tusks. Beautiful. Just having a little look around. Lots of greenery. This young elephant having a good old feed there. That grass must be so sweet. Just want to go across to Rosie's pan just to have a quick look and see if there's anything happening there. See if we can get the camera to pan around. Oh, it sounds like we have sound here. That's quite nice. Let's have a listen. Just wait for the camera to pan. There's a whole lot of new frog nests on the left-hand side there. They've been busy. The emerald spotted wood dove calling in the background. Otherwise, relatively quiet. There's some smaller birds calling. Not 100% sure which ones they are. There is a bit of bird activity. Always good just to have a look around. Not a breath of wind. Hear the flies buzzing around. There's a closer look at all the frog nests. It's about as close to snow that South Africa gets this ever. Looks like some of it started to drip at the bottom there. So there's maybe an old nest and a new one made on top of it. A couple of new ones at the top. No wonder when the sun goes down, there's a lot of frog noises at all of the waterholes. Great environment for them. Okay, I'd like to just take one more look at some of the beautiful sunset photographs that have been taken. This one is a really incredible photograph taken at Kwa. And your words there, wow, it definitely is wow. So we'll end it there on that beautiful sunset, amazing colors. Thank you so much for your time. Nice to be back on the live Africam channel here in the morning show. We'll catch up with you tomorrow afternoon. Just keep watching the cameras, see what's out there, take snapshots. If you have any questions, send them our way. It's always nice to interact with you, the viewer. I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow and the rest of the week. Have a great day further.